thank you first of all for coming on.
Of course.
Hopefully you
Yeah.
got a strong connection here. Can you provide a brief, like 1 minute description of how you and why you created Product Hunt?
Yes. Well, first, thanks for the invite. This is really cool. We're using Hopin for a product hunt event later in the year, so
So
it's
this is good
cool to.
practice.
This is good practice. Yeah, I know. This is my dry run. But yeah, for those that don't know, product hunt is a community of people around the world launching new products. So a lot of new tech companies, whether it's a new mobile app or a new physical product or gadget, it's kind of like a fire hose of here's what's new and cool in technology. And we see a lot of Canadian entrepreneurs, of course, launching on Product Hunt and people around the world. And I guess I don't know. You want the backstory, the short version, or
Give us a short backstory version. I think
yeah,
it's important for most founders to hear it if they don't know it.
yeah. I'll give you the short version. It started a little bit over 6 years ago. Product Hunt began, and I'm a weirdo that likes to just play with new apps and play with new products, and I just love technology in general. And I ironically used to browse AngelList, actually looking for new companies, just as a consumer out of curiosity. But obviously, AngelList was not built for that. And back then I was thinking, well, why isn't there just a site that lists here are the new cool products today? And that was sort of the initial idea. So it started off as an email list with me and my friends, super simple way to kind of kick things off and get started. And that grew into a website and then a community and fast forward 3 years later, we're acquired by AngelList, ironically, after it was in parts, had some inspiration in the design of Product Hunt. And yeah, we're still, going strong.
Cool. And then what was interesting, I think, about Product Hunt is, from what I understand, was you started off with a remote team and it's predominantly remote now. So tell us a bit the
Mhm.
secrets of success and then with a remote team.
The secrets. Well, if I totally run the secret, then I'd have
Well,
no competitive advantage.
just
Um,
give us the ones that everyone should know by now. I know you're like
yeah,
keep the deep dark secrets
no, I
secret.
really don't have many secrets. Yeah,
So
so
that
Product Hunt, it's been distributed since day one. I used to be in San Francisco. I'm now in LA. If you can't kind of tell by a little bit of the background, and maybe the longer hair that I've been growing out. But I'm in LA now, and today the rest of the team is distributed across the world, from Paris to, we're in Canada, India, parts of the Midwest, London, so all over the world. And initially, it was very organic in how it formed. It was largely inspired by Andreas, was CTO early on. He hired some people that he knew in Europe, and they hired people they knew in Europe, and then eventually we just adopted this sort of lifestyle and this way of working because it allowed us to, of course, have access to the world's talent. It also allowed us to be competitive in San Francisco Bay Area. It's really hard to recruit people and keep them retained. So this kind of allowed us to bypass a lot of that kind of competition. And for us, a lot of, I guess, going back to your original question around secrets, I
yeah.
think a lot of what we're focusing on is on the engineering side in particular. We focus on hiring full stack engineers, which is pretty typical for most startups in general. But for distributed teams, it's even more important because it allows you to allow that engineer to really build the entire product or feature end to end without waiting on someone else. And that's a big thing that no matter what tools you have, you can't really get around the fact that you live in different time zones and work in different times. And so
So
you need to.
independent makers basically are they don't rely on integration with the whole team.
Yeah, and it's not that we all work in isolation. It's just that we allow and try to build projects that allow people to run and make progress even when everyone else is sleeping or when other people are sleeping. And so having hiring in a way that allows us to hire for entrepreneurial people that can kind of fill in the gaps, or in this case, like engineering specifically, they don't need to have a back end engineer do something before they can do something on the front end, for example. That allows us just to continually make progress, effectively 24/7. Um, the other benefit too, a lot of people talk about the benefits of remote teams, but I think the other one is really you get a global perspective as well. Because we have people around the world and also a community that's global, we in some ways just have, I think, a little bit more empathy in terms of like what our audience is wanting because we have presence across the entire globe.
So interesting. I'm going to actually take a question from our audience around building a global team. So Nora Bradley, I don't know if you see that question, asks, how do you find and attract independent employees that are remote? So I guess how do you get the right mindset?
Um, so how do you attract them in terms of
Yeah.
recruiting?
How do
Is
you
that more the
find them,
question?
recruit them? Yeah, because obviously
Yeah.
you need a certain mindset.
Yeah, I think actually former founders or people who actually it doesn't have to be a founder in the traditional sense. It could be a founder or someone who's built side projects and launched them on their own. I think that's a really good test to evaluate someone who has the ability to build something independently and be entrepreneurial on their own. So I would, and that's a lot of what we see on Product Hunt. A lot of these people are independent makers building something,
So
for their own.
I'll ask you a question based on what I see on I say venture Twitter. Everyone's saying the current situation is going to accelerate work from home. So do you believe this forced work from home is going to work, and do you believe that's going to accelerate this 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 remote teams and work from home teams?
Yeah, I actually think it's gonna accelerate. It's gonna actually have this. It's gonna create a fork in the road for some people. So some people are going to now have this flexibility in their life where they're working from home. They're gonna love it. They're gonna enjoy it, and they're gonna go back to work when all this is over and realize, actually, I kind of like working from home. I like that lifestyle. Let me try to get my manager to allow me to work from home more often, or let me move to another company. So on one side, I think it will accelerate for some people. On the other side, there'll be an extreme aversion to working from home from another subset of people. Probably those maybe with
People with
parents that have,
kids.
yeah, with kids. You is probably one of them, because this is not a normal situation by any means. So I don't think this is going to be a great illustration of what that lifestyle is for those people. But for some people, they're gonna enjoy it. And then on the other side, the companies are being forced, some of them for the very first time, to figure out how to work as a distributed team. And I think we'll see the same thing too, where some of them are going to hate it. They're going to be like, I can't wait until we're back to normal kind of office environment. And then some might realize, oh, shoot, actually, this is working. And now we don't have to only recruit and hire around, in our local city or where we live. So I
Interesting.
think overall it will accelerate, but it's going to be divisive. It's not that everyone now
Yeah.
loves working from home.
People are going to have stronger opinions. Is what you're saying.
Yes, I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
So let's go to the subject that's actually forcing people to work from home. COVID. Product
Mhm.
Hunt is a community of makers. So how's this impacting your community and Product Hunt?
Yeah, for better or worse, probably for better though, we've for the past 3 weeks, I would say, we've seen COVID related products launching every day. It's basically all COVID related stuff, not entirely, but you'll see more and more people are working on side projects to support different things, whether it's to try to get masks to nurses and doctors, or other ways to just support other people who are disadvantaged during this time. And it's really cool to see that kind of people around the world aggregating, coming together. I'm actually a part of some WhatsApp groups where people are just hacking together and like communicating and like sharing ideas around like this project that they're really excited about. So in some ways, we're seeing this like, I wouldn't say revival because we've always had it, but this like surge of maker kind of entrepreneurial mindset happening, and a lot of the output that's now showing up on Product Hunt. So in some ways, like that's great. Our traffic is actually up as well, which is consistent with a lot of other online communities
Yeah.
that we've seen. So in terms of how our business is going, I guess we're fortunate that it hasn't been negatively affected like it has for many others. And I'm glad that we can maybe support kind of indirectly by promoting these different efforts and projects. We actually have a makers festival going on right now, which is kind of our version of an online hackathon dedicated to COVID relief efforts, primarily. So the output of that will be another week or two, I believe.
Very cool. We only have a minute or two, so I'm gonna go to one question which I saw up there. I think it was from Annabelle, who will take me to the last subject I wanted to cover today is how does how does working remote impact doing something that's usually very in-person intensive like angel investing? So you're a very active angel investor. Uh, you know, how does it impact you? You know,
Um, funny enough, I rarely actually meet founders in person. And it's partly, I'm able to do that because I'm writing small checks and not leading rounds. It's very different than if I was Andreessen Horowitz and trying to lead an A. I think I'd probably have to meet them in person and go through those motions. But I don't know. This is basically my world. What we're doing right here, Alex.
yeah.
I rarely meet people in person. It allows me to invest everywhere around the world. So you're the one that introduced me to VoiceFlow, which was the first Canadian company that we backed, and
We'll
so
have
it
to get
hasn't
you in a
changed
few
much.
more.
Hopefully, a few more.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah.
so
So yeah,
overall, I enjoy it.